The Nothing Phone 1 of last year, 2022, was possibly the most aesthetically pleasing and unique design we'd ever seen in the mobile industry, and thankfully they've stuck to what they know, and the Phone 2 follows a very similar design aesthetic. And one of the things that we've seen a lot in the reviews and previews, etc., has been the price. Now that price, for us, that increase is justified, and we're going to explain why in a second. But first, let's talk about the unboxing experience from the Phone 1 to the Phone 2. So we never reviewed the Phone 1, but the Phone 2 experience is exactly the same, except for one tiny, cool, funky little change. So you get the phone. We've gone for the 12 gig 256 model here in the grey, because it highlights the glyph interface. Spoiler, we'll get to that in a second. And then you get your manuals and inserts, no plug here as you'd expect, no silicon case, slightly disappointing, but you do get a very uniquely designed USB-C to USB cable, which is transparent only at the top. Classic Nothing. You could probably say that now. You could probably say that, yeah. And that's kind of the unboxing experience as a whole. So it's very basic, but it's kind of what you come to expect in this day and age. So the feel of the Phone 2 is very, very nice. It's less sharp in the hand compared to the Phone 1, so you get a nice curvature on the back as well, which helps to make it a bit more comfortable to hold in the hand. And then generally you get that flat display, which is stunning. A little peek into the OS, lol. And then you have the front-facing camera now sits in the middle, which is lovely. Generally though, to pop it in the hand and how it feels great. Now this is very different to the Phone 1, which felt a lot sharper. If anyone's held like a recent iPhone, they feel a lot sharper in the hand. This sits more comfortably in the hand, which is a lovely little subtle change that can make a big, big difference. So when unlocking the Nothing Phone 2, people have an issue with the placement of the fingerprint sensor. They want it slightly higher. Down here though, it does react pretty quickly. Then this is your main screen. As mentioned earlier, the front-facing camera is located bang in the center. If I swipe down from the top and go down, this is your user interface for your hotkeys, quick keys, torch, etc. I'm going to quickly show you something actually. If I go to the torch here, it doesn't actually use the glyph interface at all. It actually uses a dedicated torch light on the back, which is fine. And then if I pop that off quickly and then go volume up and volume down, it will highlight on the glyph here. Your main notifications happen there. And then these all are when you ring. The bottom one here is your charging indicator, just so you're aware, so just slowly load up as you're charging, which is a pretty sick animation. I'll flip back to the front. This bit here with the drop down is pretty Google-esque, which we really like. Moving on from that, if you swipe across and say click on this article here with the Queen, what was it? Oh, scrolling is super smooth. That display gives you an idea. Again, really, really nice and smooth as well. Now, this is running on 120 Hertz refresh rate. So if you go into display and then go into display dynamic refresh rate, so you've got dynamic high, which is 120 locked in, standard 60 if you really want to extend that battery life. So if you're running low on battery, that's going to be the option for you, but otherwise dynamic is the one to use. And in general, the Nothing Phone 2 has been a bit of a pleasure to use, to be fair. You can't get over the rear of that. Looks sick. Look at that. Beautiful. In terms of sound and video, well, let's get to that quickly. So sound output on the Nothing Phone 2 is good, not great. This is what you'd expect from a sub premium ultra high-end phone like you get in the S23 Ultras, the iPhone 14 Pro Maxes, blah, 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 blah. You're not going to get that same level of speaker experience, which is fine because it's more than serviceable. The display is stunning. So you get 1600 nits of peak brightness on that OLED display, which we said is an LTP 120 Hertz. And it really works incredibly well on any content you're watching, which we're going to demo to you now and amplify that sound to show you just how good that video and sound can be, but again, not great. So cameras, yes, these little bad boys on the back, 2 50 megapixel cameras, bump, 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 which rumor at the time they came out was that they'd borrow a lot from the OnePlus 11, which they kind of did and didn't. Anyway, the sensors on here are performing exactly as you'd expect from a sub $1,000 phone, so they are good, not great. Are they serviceable? More than serviceable. So generally, photographs on here, the color reproduction, the quality of the photos will be fine. The ultra wide, sometimes you can get a bit of blur on the outer rims, but again, that's to be expected because this is not a flagship standard phone. But there are elements of here that are flagships. You get 4K 60 FPS, which is very high end, and then 30 FPS 4K on the front videos as well. But generally, even in low light conditions, the Nothing Phone 2 performs reasonably well. It's not a game changer. It's not going to be like, oh my god, like the Pixels were when you spend $500 on a Pixel and it looked incredible. No, it's not that. But what they do offer is very, very good value for money wise. So let's talk specifications of the Nothing Phone 2. Which we get a 6.7-inch AMOLED display, 120 Hz, 1600 nits of brightness suspended, 12 gig of RAM, 256. There are variants where you can get 512 as well, 4700 mAh battery, and one of the big changes against the Phone 1 is a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, which is not the newest one, but is a big upgrade and is much more power efficient, especially in battery life. Cameras, which we touched on earlier, 50 megapixel wide, 50 megapixel ultra wide. Now earlier in this video we talked about the differences between the Phone 1 and the Phone 2 and how we felt that price difference was justified. Well, made a bit of a list, to be honest. Now we're going to knock these off and give you an idea as to the reasons why we think that value for money wise is good. So differences: Phone 2, larger battery, more efficient processor, larger display, faster wired charging, wireless charging, which is new, and more glyph customizations. And then obviously you've got the updated design. So to us, if I said to you, you're paying $130 more and you're going to get all those improvements, we haven't mentioned spec like 500,000 million. No, it doesn't matter, because in the real world terms, people don't look at those things. We're talking about tangible things that have changed from the Phone 1 to the Phone 2, and that's a list. And to be fair, if that list was updated every single year, year on year, and the price was incrementally increased like it has, gone up to the $600 odd, then for us, that makes a lot of sense. It's a pretty big jump to go, especially in the processor and how efficient the battery has been. It's a pretty big jump. And generally, the Nothing Phone 2 feel, look, design, performance, everything has been really, really good. The only issue that we have encountered, in all honesty, the only issue which Marques picked up on his review as well, is if this is plugged in and you're using, say, Google Maps, or if you're watching a video and you're charging and you're watching and using, it does get hot quite quickly. But I think that might be just down to how the thermals are and maybe better power management. But other than that, this Nothing Phone 2 is a spectacular success. And to be honest, there's really nothing more we should say. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, as always, we out.